Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of my two-part episode of Springbank 21 and the Springbank 21 pairing with the Arturo Fuente, or shall I say the Fuente Fuente Opus X Lost City. So I'll tell you why I'm reviewing this today. First and foremost, I would like to thank Loose Axel on Instagram, and I will credit him below. Loose Axel has asked me to review this particular one because he said, I want to know if you think it's good before I buy it. So here we go. Thank you, Loose Axel, for asking me to review something. And a little bit about the cigar. If you're a cigar lover like myself, you will know that the Opus X usually carries a prestige, just like the Vihique as well, or any Edition Limitada Cuban cigars. The Opus X is pretty well known now out there, and these are quite finite and rare releases. The Opus X is by the Arturo Fuente family, and it is a Dominican Puro, 100% Dominican tobacco with the Opus X. And the Forbidden Lost City is actually, it's got an interesting colorful history. In 2004, there was a movie called The Lost City, and the main star of that was Andy Garcia. And it was about a Cuban family, and the whole pretense of it was it's set in a tobacco field, and they needed to have a tobacco field picture in the background, and they wanted the tobacco plants to be a certain height because they wanted to portray a certain season. But the Fuente family, it was filmed at the Chateau de la Fuente, the actual farm itself, and the Fuente family was like, well, we can't do that because there's not going to be tobacco that big. And they were like, well, can we do something about that? So we're like, okay, sure. So they planted tobacco specially off season for the movie. And then they thought, well, a different season of tobacco planting will result in different flavor, so they might as well use it to make a special release. And so they've been making it since then. Every year there's only a certain amount they release of this particular run. The tobacco in this is aged minimum of 5 years. 5 years age. So to put it in perspective, most Cuban cigars, they don't age their tobacco for years, and if they do, it becomes a limited edition limitada. A lot of non-Cubans will age it between 2 to 3 years, but this is minimum 5 years aged tobacco. So it's going to be a very interesting smoke. Alright, so anyway, let's get cutting, let's get toasting. So same format as before, I'm going to just let it warm up a bit and then tell you about the first third, second third, and the last third. But first impressions, a relatively light brown color. So I wouldn't say it's a Maduro or an old super Maduro leaf, but let's see how we go. So I'm going to start puffing, relax, and let you know first third. We're not quite the first third yet, but we're definitely approaching the first quarter at least. Sensational cigar so far. The smoke output is a medium to heavy. So the smoke is a relatively oilier smoke, not too oily, but it is quite an oily, relatively heavy smoke. Cedar notes, very woody, a bit of dry hay, very dry hay. Slight pepperiness, which is good because I don't like heavily peppery cigars. Spicy, nutty, leathery, slight creaminess to it as well. Very pleasurable so far. And you can taste that aged tobacco in there, which is really good. You can taste just that. And I say this with well-aged tobaccos, but you can definitely taste the ferment in there, the kind of wet leaves, wet leaf litter. But I've got a feeling that this is going to develop more slightly peppery, but coffee towards the end. Right now it's not too chocolatey, but slightly chocolatey, more like a low cocoa, sweeter chocolate. But yeah, very nice so far. I'll see you soon in the first third. So just approaching the first third. So coffee is starting to develop. It's quite a woody cigar. It's quite pleasant actually. Quintessential tobacco flavors, but it is a slightly punchy cigar. It's not overly strong though. It's not overly strong. It's very spicy, not peppery. Very spicy. So when I say spicy and peppery, how I determine the difference is peppery to me is quite a sharp heat. To me, this is like a mellow heat, a mellow spice. The coffee is developing nuttiness. Quite a creamy cigar. There's a slight sourness to it. But that could be the ferment of the tobacco. The smoke output is not too heavy, but it's healthy. It's a good amount of smoke output. There's an element of savouriness to the cigar. It's not a sweet cigar. By all means, I wouldn't call it a dessert cigar, but I do think that you should, either have it before a good heavy steak or something like that. And today, I mentioned in my episode 1, but I'll mention it again. I paired it with a Springbank 21 for 2 reasons. One, this is quite a luxurious cigar. It really is an indulgent cigar, from a price point to just the story behind it, the age behind it. So I paired it with something equally as luxurious. But also, this whiskey is quite a clean, quite a crisp whiskey, and it balances out the cigar quite well, and that's why I picked it. I think if you have a heavily peated whiskey with this cigar, it'll just get lost. So now I'm approaching and finishing the second third. The reason why I say that is because I don't know what the cigar is going to be like in terms of going all the way to the end. I don't always believe in going all the way to the end, but some cigars have that staying power of going all the way to the end. I just had to squeeze a little bit in the top here just to kind of loosen it up a bit. The draw was a little tight. The thing about Opus X's is that they do pack them tighter than most non-Cubans, which is great because you get more flavor packed into each puff. So the second third, I'm getting a lot more almond liqueur, like an amaretto. It is a leathery cigar. The leather's coming through like a wet leather. It does have like a funky taste to it, like almost like a wet bark, wet mulch on a garden after a rainy day. It's got a little bit of that wet, like kind of damp organic matter flavor into it, which is very nice. The pepper's starting to elevate a little bit, but it's still very spicy. Sign of a good cigar is that it doesn't change too much too quickly. The progression has been relatively light, medium to full, and it's becoming more medium to full now. And I've got a feeling it'll get quite full there, but it's like a mocha flavor. Like a barista just pressed the coffee, put it into a froth of chocolate and milk, quite creamy, but a double shot mocha at that. The cedar notes and woody taste is still there. Not too overly strong actually. I've been quite pleasantly surprised. Not overly strong as a cigar goes. So I'm now in the home stretch. Mocha becomes coffee, an espresso shot, a heavy roasted espresso shot at that. So slightly bitter but not offensive. I like coffee, so that's fine for me. The nuttiness is starting to go, peppery is starting to climb up a little bit, but still spicy, woody. The creaminess is starting to subside. The smoke is becoming quite intense in flavor. The strength Actually, this is probably medium to full, I'll be completely honest. It hasn't really given me a bit of a buzz out of it in terms of heaviness. The question I've got is, would I buy this cigar? Yes, I would. I would definitely invade the small nations for it. I would. A poorly armed nation, I always say that because I don't really want to get hurt. I want it to be easy, but also relatively immoral. So yes, I would. I would invade a country for it. I love Dominicans, and these don't disappoint. Now, here's the caveat on that. Here's the condition on that, price-wise. So USD, this is about 45 USD if you get them in a good deal. If you buy it from a Fuente house, might be slightly more because there's a lounge there, and obviously they give you the entire experience. Is it worth it? Yes, I think it is. Is it a daily smoke? No. I don't smoke that many cigars actually. I'll tell you what, in our country, it is $1.20 or 80 cents US a gram of tobacco when you're buying cigars into the country. In the US, it's much more affordable, but in New Zealand, this is very expensive. So in the US, yes, I would. I think it's definitely worth it. I think it's a great cigar, experience-wise. The woody taste and the hay, the creaminess, it sticks. It's all the way through. It's fantastic. The pepper is so controlled. Which the pepper can be very overpowering and really sharp on the tongue. There's no pepper that just hits the tongue and spice and heat. It's very pleasant. I would definitely buy it again. I think it's worth it. The aged tobacco really speaks volumes of the experience you're getting here. You know, so I don't do the dailies because in our country it's not worth getting them. This is a special occasion cigar, and today's a special occasion because I had Loose Axel ask me for a review. Thank you. And pairing it with this as well. But you know what they say, every time you light up a nice cigar and a good bottle of whiskey, it's a special occasion anyway. So yes, I would revisit it. I would recommend buying it. But hey, look, it's not always everyone's cup of tea for the price value proposition. I know in the US, the average stick that people smoke tends to be about $8 to $12 US. Anything above that becomes premium or super premium. So you have to ask yourself that question, whether or not it's worth it for you. Our value proposition here in my home country is a little bit skewed because to us, that is cheap as hell. Because we pay so much tax on these cigars, but I think it's definitely worthwhile buying. The flavor profile is just progressing so nice and slow. It doesn't get offensive. It doesn't get bitter too bitter. It doesn't get unpalatable. Thank you very much. I'll see you again till next time. Please hit subscribe and look at my other cigar pairings. Cheers.